Nice to see you today. Of course, you can see us. We can't see you, but we know you're out there somewhere in cyberspace. Adam, can you say a word or two? Let's hear that you're on.
Yep, I'm here. I'm here, Kaypacha. I'm right here. I'm also very pleased to see everyone coming on, and it's good to see many people I recognize, although like you said, I can't see anyone, but I can see your names. And I definitely feel the energy building here for our time together.
Beautiful. I'll open that chat box. I already see there's... Okay, I've got Adam, I've got Susan, Brave Skull, of course, Neil, great. Nice to see everybody. We will be posting information on the chat box during our webinar today. So if you click on that chat, you'll be able to write to us and we will be able to write back to you and share some things. We'd like to just thank everybody for showing up and just calm ourselves. Let's start with just a little short meditation. We can close our eyes, straighten the spine. Take a few nice deep breaths all the way down into the belly, opening your crown chakra, connecting with each other in cyberspace and beyond. I've got my feet flat on the floor, connecting to Gaia, the earth. And let's just start out with a couple ohms. Let's all inhale together. Inhale to begin. One big ohm. And with your eyes closed or open, imagine you are a great bird soaring high, high through the Himalayas, the great mountains, majestic peaks, through Nepal, Bhutan, the high Himalayas. The country of Bhutan has peaks going up 25,000 feet. The air is thin, crisp, clean, pure. The snow, the air, the water is crystalline. So much of it undisturbed for thousands of years. It is an ancient land with ancient mountains and ancient peoples with ancient teachings that has been closed off. It's almost like I think of Shambhala, a book I read a long time ago about Shambhala, this high mountain city that the world did not even know existed, whether it was legend or whether it was real. Well, Bhutan has only recently opened its doors to foreigners. I have been absolutely blessed to be invited by Adam, Jill, and Andrea to co-lead the very first astrology retreat in the country of Bhutan. and I can't wait. So what I'd like to do to start off today, we want to tell you about the astrology that we will be bringing. We want to tell you a little bit about the culture. We want to tell you a little bit about the country and just share some time and space together, imagining, projecting, envisioning, feeling. So I want to pass it over to Adam because Adam knows how this all began. And I'm kind of a recent newcomer to the group leading this journey. Adam, can you enlighten us as to how this all happened in the first place?
Yeah, let's blame it on the wind. The wind blew in a certain way, and the wind carried a kind of inspiration that was unmistakable for me. In the 3D, I walked into my favorite cafe on the planet, a cafe in Seattle, Washington, in the United States, called Llama. And the reason I call this my favorite is because of the owners. And I'll speak a little bit more about them. This cafe has a very, very special energy, and it's understated. You go in there, you just have to kind of sink into what's there, and you feel more connected to yourself and others. Anyway, I walked in there for a cup of chai, and by the way, to my taste buds, this is the world's best chai. And I've had lots of it from various places. Though I've never been to Bhutan, so we'll see. I don't know what the chai's there like. And I was invited just through an offhanded comment by the co-owner, Jill, who is the real matron of this whole tour that we're going to Bhutan with. And Jill was mentioning how huge a fan she is of Kaypacha's Pele report. So she just kind of, we hugged and we said hi, I ordered a chai, and as she walked away to kind of, I guess, start to make my order, she kind of said, yeah, I just love it. And she said something to the effect of, wouldn't it be a dream if we could find someone to connect and we could put on a trip? She didn't even mention Bhutan at that point. And I said, wait, are you talking about Kaypacha? Because he and I go way back. We're troublemakers of the same mother, if you will. And she said, wow, you know him? So we got to talking. Isn't that right, Kaypacha? I just wrote you an email, or I called you up or something. And I said, hey, there's this magical possibility. There's no organization yet. What do you think? And you were 100% in from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really how it all started. It was just, in a wonderful environment among close friends. And an idea was floated. And here we are today with dates, a whole website devoted to this trip. People have already expressed strong interest. All the logistics are coming into play. So this is really the winds of how this trip is happening.
And that was Jill, whose husband, or she's from Bhutan, Himalaya Tours, or
yeah. So Cypress Himalaya is the tour company that is based in Bhutan and based here in the United States through Jill. Jill is the co-owner, and they put on tours to Bhutan. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about this, right, Kaypacha? But going to Bhutan is not like getting on a plane, getting off the plane, collecting your luggage, getting a taxi to the airport, and then going on your journey. There's more involvement with the government. There's more involvement with the kind of boundaries that the government has instituted to protect the natural culture of Bhutan from receiving too many tourists, too much outside influence all at once. So that's really how, Jill and her husband Karma, who is from Bhutan, they're the ones who are really kind of, I guess, if you will, behind this trip. And Jill has been more than diligent in answering all of our questions and getting us ready to really be prepared to present to you today what this trip is really about.
So it's just really amazing to me because these are the times, Jupiter moving through Sagittarius.
Yes.
I just got back from the Andean mountains, and it's the indigenous peoples, the ancient cultures,
Yes.
that are that are being resurrected in a way. People are seeking and searching for a deeper connection to nature,
Yes.
for a deeper spiritual purpose and meaning for our existence.
Yeah.
And besides astrology, nature, I think, is, nature and astrology are the same thing, because astrology is really the study of nature, her
Indeed.
cycles, whether they are cosmic and celestial or earthly, the seasons. We're all looking at cycles and time, and the soul incarnating repeatedly, evolving, expanding, and growing. And this is what we have in common with the Buddhist traditions of these ancient cultures going in the East, right? So, Bhutan is the only Vajrayana Buddhist country in the world today. In 2016, there were only 55,000 people allowed inside the borders. They only got television in the 1990s. They've only had the internet for less than 10 years. They are consciously containing, holding the purity of their traditions and their belief systems. So this is just like such a rare opportunity. It's almost like journeying back in time,
yes,
to the origins of Buddhism and reincarnation, the whole idea that we, come from body to body to body. And maybe, Adam, you can talk to us a little bit, about, this particular branch or stream of Buddhism, because we will be learning from, even having an opportunity to get personal readings from the Buddhist astrologers in Bhutan.
yes,
And my understanding is that they don't just want your birth data, they want the birth data of your parents.
that's right. Yes, yes. So I am by no means in any way, shape, or form qualified to speak about Vajrayana Buddhism, but just in terms of a formal, proper, and comprehensive understanding. However, for our little gathering here, for our small trip that we're putting on here, Vajrayana Buddhism is, if you will, the most recent, as they call it, the turning of the dharmic wheel, turning of the wheel of Buddhism. And it refers to the idea that when we change our relationship from me in my body as a separate person from you and all of life and all of consciousness, and I start relating me and in my body as the same in an ultimate way, as the same in a fundamental, or they sometimes call it primordial way, when we start relating to one another and to ourselves as just of the same essential nature. That's what, in one way to describe what Vajrayana Buddhism, which is the particular Buddhism, as you mentioned, Kaypacha, that is exclusively practiced, and it's the country's, religion in Bhutan. That's what its goal is. So I found this. This is one of the things, Kaypacha, that really, really interests me about this trip. To be able to go to Bhutan, of all places, it's a precious gift to me. I have always been, ever since I found a cogent and full system from Western astrology of reincarnation and how to read the soul through incarnations, and therefore track and map the evolutionary learning through lifetimes, which is not a line or a slope, but it's a spiral moving in multiple directions at the same time. Evolution, life after life, is multiple directional spirals, right? It's at that with the Eastern tradition of this idea that everything is already, if you will, enlightened. Me, my habits, the negative parts of me, the positive parts of me, all the things that have happened in the past, all the things that have yet to happen in my future, that's all already enlightened. This idea of going, so that's where I found this amazing overlap, where we in the West, we love, from the advent of Western Hellenistic culture, Western civilization, we love going to the mystical, going to the higher and the purer. And we did it through that particular cultural set of understandings and biases and brilliances. But here in the East, they do it in a very, very different way. It's not just cultural difference. It's a philosophical fundamental difference. And this, try to find the overlap is remarkable. So Kaypacha, I'm not just excited that we're going to get to do this together with wonderful people in this country. It's that we're going to be giving, 6 days, 7 days, 6 days of intensive teachings. You with your piece with Pluto, the moon's nodes, the moon, and me with Chiron, to bridge this kind of idea of West, a little bit like West and East. We're not speaking for the Eastern Buddhism, but like you mentioned, and I just wanted to add one more piece that you said, one of the days that we have allocated is to sitting and receiving teachings from the Buddhists, from the lamas, the lama astrologers. They're going to be in English, yes. Thank you. Yes, there won't be any little headsets where you have to wear it. Right? In English, we're going to get those teachings, and then optionally, if participants want to, they can then get a reading. So that, in addition to our work, right? Exactly, me too. Our work. Now that's where the East and the West kind of combine. So that's one of the most exciting, most possible things that I'm really, really like. I don't want it to be nearly a year away or 11 months away. I want it to be like in a month or two. So I'm going to practice patience. We'll see how good I do.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, we're going to have these teachings, and
right.
We're going to spend, our first days traveling to different particular points in the country. We're going to actually hike up to Tiger's Nest. I don't know if you've been to the website to see the pictures. These mountains and the monasteries, and like Adam was saying, this culture is based on Buddhism. So like the roundabouts have statues, and there is just like, even the people, part of their thing is they need to wear their Buddhist robes during work hours. I think the men is the go, and the women's is the re. I might be saying it wrong, but they have these special. You saw the dance at the beginning, okay? Yeah. They wear these robes, all the time.
Yes.
Except weekends, we'll maybe see some blue jeans on weekends, is what I understand. But, so we have this cultural experience. We have the experience of nature, the mountains, the purity.
Yes.
This is the only carbon neutral country in the world. So talk about pristine and clear. And then with this elevation, I mean, I was just in the mountains, and I got to say, the air is thin.
Yes.
You know, but it is so. It's almost like you're open. You're kind of opened already,
Right.
just by being there.
Yes.
In that pristine, beautiful area of the country. And then we're going to be visiting, you know, the Buddhist, it's the College of Astrology.
Right.
And they have, the government is so pro-astrology in Bhutan. They are graduating astrologers as fast as they can because they want an astrologer in every, is it school or university or business or?
I don't know which it is, but yes, I read some stat. Yeah.
You know, they want a practicing astrologer in all of their businesses. I mean, it's just like, oh, wow, to actually have a culture, a society that supports an understanding of astrology is just like, well, that's why, and that's the other thing, gross national happiness. It was a few years ago that the legislation, the government of Bhutan, I mean, this place is just amazing. Instead of focusing on GNP, gross national product, God, a monkey just fell out of the tree. Instead of focusing on gross national product, they are focusing on gross national happiness. And they are instituting, you know, political policies geared towards creating a culture, a society that's happy.
Yes. Let me speak to that a little bit, Kaypacha. This is, you know, as you say that, I realize there's so many facets. Like this trip is already like a huge crystal. And like one of the other facets to me is that this idea of happiness. The happiness in the East is not the same as happiness in the West. In the East, happiness means I'm free from those things that obstruct my natural flow, my innate nature from coming out and benefiting myself and others. I'm free from the things that I'm not. I used to say in my counseling work years ago, we can't really teach each other how to be who we are, but we can help us unlearn who we're not. And that's what a lot of the happiness practices in Buddhism is. It's to identify and look at critically the ways that we are getting in the way of our own innate happiness. Whereas in the West, not everyone, but generally, culturally, it's generally seen that happiness is when you have what you want. It's an acquisition. It's a result of an acquisitional effort. And it's not the same this isn't just in Bhutan. This is certainly in India, Nepal, and other Eastern religion-based countries. So, you know, I just wanted to make that point that I think we in the West, we Westerners that we're going to go there, we're going to find this kind of foundational, pervasive way of relating with one another, with the Bhutanese, of the Eastern view of happiness, which is if I'm not winning, you're not winning. And if you're not winning, I'm not. It's a very, very, very different than Western assumptions about what the self is. So I'm very excited about that.
I mean, talk about the age of Aquarius, the dawning of the age of Aquarius. That is exactly what Aquarius is all about, that we are all part of the tapestry. We are all part of the matrix. Nobody gets there first. And, you know, and the higher you get, the more you need to come back down and lift everybody else up.
Yes.
And it is a collective conscious expansion.
Completely. Completely.
And that is the other part of this journey that I am very excited about. Adam and I, we have to give a little history, man. I mean,
okay, go for it. Yeah.
We met, I think it was around 2000, 2001. We both happenstance. This was before Adam was even into astrology. I mean, you were brand new to astrology.
Wait. I was brand new to Western astrology. I was doing Mayan for a long time.
Oh, okay, yeah. So so we both got into the shamanic school of astrology with Daniel Giamario, and we met in the desert in Nevada, where we went out under the night sky, stayed out overnight for a vision quest.
Yep.
And in order to receive direct transmissions from the planets in the shamanic, understanding stream of things, was, to just like really feel into Mars and Venus rather than look at a computer printout, but to really, engage, with the natural reality. And so that is how Adam and I met. And part of that mystery school, definitely was about becoming super familiar with the night sky.
Yes.
The actual reality that is above us, and becoming familiar with the constellations, with the fixed stars, with the lore and the folklore and the legends that, it's just amazing how, mythology is all born out of the movements of the stars and the planets.
Yes.
And that the stories all are about explaining, the seasonal and greater changes and cycles that happen in the starry night sky. So whereas I kind of went off more towards into evolutionary astrology, Adam stayed with the night sky.
Yes.
Adam is an expert night sky celestial sphere. He is going to be guiding us in the evenings. And just think of how clear and brilliant the stars are going to be at the elevation where we will be traveling.
Yes.
So we are going to be doing night sky observing. Adam can tell us more about that. And I'm going to be bringing Kundalini yoga and meditation. Adam also, does meditation, and we'll be doing breath work, breathing. We're going to be doing experiential learning.
Yes.
So that this is not just an academic, intellectual, this is what, Saturn in the 4th house in Sagittarius means.
Right.
This is not the approach. We want you to understand that, yes, the more astrology you know, obviously, the more you will gain, you'll have a kind of a head start, and you'll be able to go deeper and farther faster.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we're not going to leave you behind.
Right.
If you are not an astrologer.
Well, isn't this right, Kaypacha? Everyone on the trip is going to get your course to get up to speed to the degree that they want to.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I have a course. It's 16 hours of me talking at you. I call it Astrology 101, and it goes into the basic meaning of the signs, planets, houses, and aspects.
Right.
And so you will have plenty of time to, listen to that, become familiar with the fundamentals of astrology before you even get on the plane.
Yes. Right. Yep. That's
and
right.
Adam, you're going to give them a gift also, right?
Yes. Because my whole teaching is going to be on Chiron and what I call Chiron in astrology for me represents the open heart, which is not just the feel-good, new agey, energetic, lovey-dovey heart. This is I'm getting my butt kicked because my heart's opening bigger into love, into truth, into goodness than I've ever felt before, and I'm going through some stuff here. You know, that kind of process. This is, you know, I call it the broken open heart rather than having a breakdown. You're having your heart broken open. So I'm going to be giving a good sizable chunk excerpt from my book on Chiron. And I'm also going to be giving a video that is a primer on what I call the living sky, where the sky in astrology, Western astrology, was for a tens of thousands of years before we founded the round chart wheel. The sky was our chart. And so it was about direct experience, somatic experience, mind-opening experience with the sky. And so there are principles you can incorporate from the sky-based astrology right into chart-based astrology. So some of the night sky experiences we're going to have together out when we're together is going to be more alchemical, meditational, tantric than they will be like point and talk. That's this, that's this. In ancient times, that was called that, that's that, that's that. Because that internet is wonderful for that. We want to get into some experiences of our own personal relationship with that sky, again, to bring it in with the chart. So that's what we're going to be, that's the sky piece also. You know, Kaypacha, there's something else that occurs to me here. At the beginning, you mentioned about, it was a wonderful point. You said, it's like we're going back into this preserved past. Right. But then it occurs to me also as I'm listening to you talk, carbon neutral country, gross national happiness, a balanced approach to tourism and influx from outside influences. Are we going to the past or are we going to the future?
That whole Aquarian ideal that we are all together in this, and it's anti-competitive, and yeah, I know. I mean, because I associate, particularly for myself, I was born with Pluto in Leo, and in evolutionary astrology, the Pluto polarity point has to do with my soul's evolutionary path, which is Aquarius.
Yes.
And that is non-attachment.
It sure is.
One of the main key words is a Buddhist fundamental
principle.
You know, principle, right? So, you know, it's just like, for me, I feel like, you know, there's just so much, and I'm looking at the chats here. You know, Violetta just came back from Bhutan, and she says, I learned so much from the people.
Yes.
The people themselves, like, you know, like, and there's going to be time, you know, for shopping, for sightseeing, for mixing and mingling, you know, and the last couple of days, now you got to help me out with the pronunciation here, the tshechu festival.
Yes, the Llama dancing festival.
The Llama dancing festival happens once a year. That we timed this, you know, this tour so that it could include the Llama dancing festival, because it is what, you know, I mean, come on, Adam, the most beautiful and colorful festival in Western Bhutan, and is celebrated for 3 days to commemorate the great deeds of Guru Rinpoche, the founding saint of Buddhism in Bhutan.
That's right.
Can you tell us about him?
Well, inadequately, he was kind of known as the second Buddha. He was fully, as I read it, fully enlightened, completely realized, kind of like an avatar, maybe, and maybe close to a Western idea. They don't ever speak about it like that, and it's the idea that he traveled throughout his life, which was in, give or take, the 6th and 7th century AD, And he would convert through the power of his kindness, the power of his enlightenment, and basically his power of enlightenment, of realization. He converted a lot of what were very warring, negative influences in nature, as well as between people. And he converted them to more of a Buddhist path of recognizing the true nature of things and working towards other people getting out of suffering and working for their happiness. He was like a Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And this Llama dancing festival, and by the way, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Jill from Cyprus, Somalia. One of the main organizer here for us. She's the one who had the insight to schedule this trip to include the Llama Dancing Festival as an optional 2 or 3 day add-on to the main trip. So if that's something you're interested in, then you would make sure when you're registering to register for that. And the idea of the Llama Dancing Festival is that these, lifetime devout Buddhist lamas, monks, practice both meditation and physical practice of the dance to demonstrate and mirror back to you how to lessen the fear of going through the dying process. So it's one of the results of this Llama Dancing Festival is to pinpoint specific things where we're confused. Maybe this is in the unconscious, not necessarily in the conscious mind, and to undo those and to free those up. So what happens is, as a result of this, is we feel more spaciousness in our own mind, in our own body, from sitting and witnessing these particular dances. And they're ornately costumed, and their movements and how the hand movements and the head movements and the sounds and the music that is played is all very, very specific and precise for that end. Yeah, it's going to be of true blessing.
I saw a couple of YouTube videos of the costumes and the dancing. It is amazing. And, it also brings to me, up the whole idea of Tantra. I'm reading this Tantra book, The Jewel of the Lotus, with my wife, and Tantric Buddhism.
Yes.
Just the relationship of the masculine and feminine in that culture, I am very interested in observing and witnessing the way that the men and the women connect and interrelate, because I was reading a little bit about, that Tantra was very powerful there, that they have maybe a different understanding of the sexual nature.
Yes.
And Tantra is, the roots of the Sanskrit word for, of Tantra is passion and liberation. Tantra is passion and trick is liberation. This is liberating ourselves through not suppressing the 5 physical senses, but fully engaging and then going beyond the 5 physical senses.
Yes.
So, this is, I'm very excited to also look at the different teachings, not only of reincarnation, of Buddhism, of astrology, but then, also of, the cultural, sexual, masculine, feminine, interaction. And just really, I think this trip is going to blow all my circuits.
I love it. Tantra did originate in India. Yes. The Buddhist view of Tantra is very different than what has gotten watered down for us in the West. I love the distinction you're making. That is so important. The view of masculine and feminine in that culture is quite different than what we call masculine feminine here in the West. For many reasons. The context that it's held in, how it's approached, what its aim or goal is when engaging those energies. I hope that we all have our circuits blown to some degree, so that we come out of the trip really more informed, more open, you know, more centered in ourselves and who we actually are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I wanted to also bring up, Kaypacha, once in a while I receive some kind of little pithy sayings. Sometimes I spend too much energy trying to create them and it never works. But when I get them, just, yeah. America, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's still at the heart of what American ideal is. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I was contemplating this. We're going to be spending 2.5 weeks together in a country entirely devoted to life, happiness, and the pursuit of liberation. Life, happiness, and the pursuit of liberation. So that's where we're coming. That's where we're going to.
And it's a lot older than 200 years. I think they have a little more experience attaining it.
They're a little bit better at it. They've made more mistakes and they've come out of it going enough times, okay, got it, I don't need to do that one again.
And I understand that like everybody, almost like everybody loves the king. They, you know, it's just like, yeah, it's not a polarized, you know, what, I don't want to get into American politics.
Yeah, right. You know, so everyone here listening to us or even live, I don't know if the recording of this captures the chat, but anyone here with us live, Jill and Andrea are here in the chat. So if you wanted to ask them questions, you can just type in your question here in the chat, and I'm periodically looking over here and catching. They're adding, they're chatting here some great links and other information that you might not find on websites and stats and books and stuff. So really make sure to check out the chat here. Maybe some way we can, if the chat's not included in the video, we can include it somehow. But anyway, so this is the place to ask some questions and get your questions about the trip responded to right here.
Yeah, and we'll put some links to the website and put the email addresses of Jill and Andrea. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, we did want to just say a couple of things about, you know, I mean, why we are doing this webinar, okay, you know, in November, almost a year in advance of the trip. We do want to say that it is necessary, you know, for this journey to happen. Like we said, the government has, very strong restrictions to manage the level of tourism in the country, and so when you book, it's like the airline, the Bhutan Airlines, the hotels, the food, even the transportation, like all the money goes to the government. A quarter of that money goes right into the economy for healthcare and education for the people.
Yes, yes.
So, and there needs to be like super advanced, reservations, confirmations, payments, and all that kind of stuff. So, we're doing this way far in advance because by January or so, I'm told, we really need to have a firm number. Space is limited. We're only going to be filling, 2 buses, too small, with the mountain roads and the switchbacks. We're not in a Greyhound, let me tell you. So we're going to have these two little caravans going around, and the sooner that you can get in touch and reserve your space, the better. Yeah, the better chance you have of, getting in there.
Yep. And let me just say, Kaypacha, on that point, this is a trip that's not really like many astrological retreats. I mean, Kaypacha, you lead them all around the world. It's like the creation of the trip itself is already becoming intimate with the country and its people. So if you know that you want to be there, if you know that you're to be with us on this trip, make it happen. This is going to be something very special, very, very special.
And the universe will support you in making it happen.
Absolutely.
I remember, I was always financially restrained, shall we say? Or should I say consciously restrained? Anyway, I hitchhiked and I bummed all over the United States and up to Canada and down to Mexico, but I always had it in my mind that there was no way I could afford to get across the ocean. And it really wasn't until 2009 that I was invited to South Africa, and I didn't have any money. And I had reached a point. It was after I did my Kundalini yoga training, and I just reached this point, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I just made up my mind. I pulled out a charge card, and I said, I'm going, and it was a mindset alteration.
Yes.
That led to the willful conscious decision that allowed, I feel like, life to support me in unfolding a new leaf or a new aspect of myself. So I want to encourage people, yes, you can say, oh, I can't do this, or I can't afford that, or da, 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 da. And I want to encourage you to make that breakthrough yourself, and you will find, right, that life is a mirror.
Yes.
You can't make the mirror smile, but once you smile, life in the mirror smiles back at you, and it's actually you move to another level of creative manifestation.
Indeed, that's beautiful. Yes, yeah.
So that's my cut.
Speaking of smiling first, speaking of initiating the smile. Bhutan is called the land of the thunder dragon. And I looked up why, and I read several accounts. And I find this very resonant with what you just shared, and also kind of how this trip is coming together. The reason it's called Land of the Thunder Dragon was a revered Llama in around the 12th century AD was looking for a place on which to begin construction on a new monastery, a new temple. And there was this storm, or this huge amount of thunder that came rolling in. And he took it, he experienced, I guess, as a sign that this is the place for the temple. So there was no arrow pointing, saying, hey, dude, here's the temple. It's going to last 1,000 years. You're good to go if you build it here. He read the signs. And that was my comment just a bit ago about, if you know that you want to be on this trip, if you know you are meant to be on this trip, that's the sign. I'm going to talk a lot about this when I go into Chiron, about the heart is much more than we feel it is, much more we think it is. If you know you're supposed to be there, that is something beyond yourself, of you, talking to you. And that's the thing about initiating the smile, so that the mirror and all of life smiles back at you. That's the idea here.
And I mean, I still, you know, ask the questions just before I fall asleep. And I wake up with my mantras, you know, for the Pele report, and I wake up with answers, and so much comes to me also, you know, through the heart, through the feeling, and then also, of course, you know, the dream state. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, there's a lot here on this trip that's awaiting us.
Ow! Yes. Yeah, baby. Well, beautiful, Adam. I mean, I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
We did not really rehearse this at all. This has kind of been a spontaneous sharing.
Yep.
You know, if there are any questions in the chat box for, you know, for Adam or myself, now would be a good time. Hi, Maitreya. Oh my God, I haven't seen you in ages.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, baby. She's been to Bhutan.
Oh.
You can come with us. Oh my goddess. Yeah. Well, wonderful. This is live streaming to the New Paradigm Astrology community Facebook page, and I'm recording it, so we will be posting all this. You can rewatch it, or you know, check out the links you know, that are you know, with the posting. I'll put it on YouTube, and all I can say is, I hope you hear the calling. I hope we see you there. I look forward to meeting you, spending time with you in the flesh. And thank you, you know, thank you for opening time in your life for our sharing.
Thank you, everyone, very much for, like you said, for your time here and your attention. If this is the trip for you, I really look forward to journeying with you.
And if there's anything that I want to close with, it's that Adam is a blast. And I got to say, we have not spent enough time together, the two of us, you know, over the last 10 years or 15 years. And, you know, we are going to get together, and we're going to have some fun. This is not going to be a 100% solemn, event.
Yes, I can say from a lot of experience in the past, like you said, not recently, Kaypacha brings out the best of my worst.
Yeah, baby. All right, you guys. Namaste. Aloha.
Blessings, everyone. Blessings.
So much love. All right. I'm going to